guys. I figured today was a perfect day to go live because the fish room is clean and I actually did get around to cleaning up my office a little bit, so it's not quite as abysmal as it was yesterday. Thought I was gonna cry when I walked in there after getting the entire fish room clean, only to see the enormous mess. It was a sad discovery that I had made that much of a mess. Hawaii, I wish I was there right now. Welcome everybody. Yeah, my floor is quite clean. I don't think my fish room has been this clean since Amazonas did a feature on me and they came and photographed the fish room. I think that's the last time it was this clean. I was in a mood yesterday to get things organized. I don't have a set topic in mind. I don't know. I probably should start doing that. It would help. But it's hard for me to decide what I want to focus on. So you guys let me know what you want to talk about and we can make up our own topic. Hello from Switzerland. Hello, that's incredible. Can you have your birthday party in my fish room? I guess if you don't have many friends, there's not a ton of extra space. Michael just asked me if my pygmy sunfish ever ate dry food. Not really. I mean, they would pick at it, but they didn't maintain condition properly. Someone just asked when we'll hear about the new lights. As soon as I have like an actual arrival date for the things I'm getting, then I will share with you guys what the plan is. But I live with a healthy dose of skepticism that nothing's ever going to go right. So I'm waiting until I know for sure that it's happening before I blow it out of the water. Have I ever kept half beaks? JAWB's aquarium tanks asked. Yes, I have. They're very challenging fish. A lot of the species are very challenging. They're surprisingly aggressive. Hello from Pennsylvania. Hi, Carson. What part of Pennsylvania are you from? Yes, guys, the likes and the shares help out immensely. Oh, you're in Gettysburg. That's really close. Who was that? Fira Konex? Pittsburgh. You have some good clubs out there, Carson. Are you in Pappas or GPASI? Two really incredible clubs. Hi, Danny from the Netherlands. So I went around today since the floor was clean and cleaned up my office, which was so bad, and did a bunch of water changes, which I do every day. You know, with this free time I have with not shipping, even though it happens every year, I'm still always just kind of shocked at the amount I can accomplish when I'm not shipping fish. Call me Tat from Delaware. I lived in Delaware. That's where my daughters were born. My husband's family's from, well, when they were grown kids, they all are from Delaware. Hello from Scotland. Hi, Rob. I'm reading things. All right, let's see if I can find a question. Let's see. Thinking of getting Vallisneria. Do I have any tips? Valves often will melt when they're first added to a tank, but as long as the root structure is good, they'll come back. So when you're doing your maintenance, it's really important to try and not disrupt that root structure or else they can melt. They're also very sensitive to things like Excel, which can cause them to melt. I breed lots and lots of shrimp to those who have asked. I will not be in Orlando this coming year, Josh. I was not asked, and it's not really in my personal budget to fly to events that I have to pay for. Generally, I have to take my family, and it gets very expensive. So I tend to go to the ones that I can drive to. What are some species that need a simulated dry season to spawn? I mean, I don't know that any species requires it. However, if you have mature, especially things like catfish, like Coreodorus, imitating a dry season can really get them going. Or really any fish that comes from a place that has a pronounced rainy season. How do you know if you're underfeeding your fish? They look thin. Keep in mind, though, that fish can be overweight, and it's really as bad for them as it is for any other animal or human. My tanks are so clear. What's my filtration system? I just use sponge filters. I just do a lot of water changes. And I can tell that my sponges need to be washed when my water's not looking so clear. There's a few of those around the fish room right now that I need to get to. Can you keep clown killifish with lamp eye killifish? Yes. Hello from Liverpool. Do I feed fresh frozen food for your fish? Yes, I do. I like to feed Cyclops or Daphnia for frozen foods, sometimes baby brine for really small fish. You guys want to look at any of the fish? I just went around and fed everyone. That's another nice thing about not shipping, is that I can absolutely feed heavily. Do shrimp eat bloodworms? Absolutely. Have I considered changing the layout of my fish room? Yeah, I think about it all the time. In fact, I think I'm gonna take down, let me switch the camera. I think I'm gonna take down this row and put in a 3-tiered tall rack, because this is just an inefficient use of space. But I'm kind of attached to this little tank here. So that's the only reason I haven't taken it down. There's not really any other place I can put it. So that would be a sad thing. There are a few clubs in Colorado. Some good ones too, saltwater and freshwater. Someone asked to see Captain Cranky Pants. He's currently irritated with me because he got a 50% water change today. Sorry to hear that the stream is having issues. It looks fine on my end, Wayne. You just asked, how can I go away for 1 to 3 weeks and take care of your betta? In average, most fish will do just fine for up to 2 weeks. If you're going to be gone for 3, I would have someone that you trust come in and feed a pre-measured amount. These are high Pancistrus contridens. I'm hoping they're going to spawn for me soon. I think I say that every week. But they're looking quite rotund, and I'm hopeful that it'll be soon. There's also these really nice red lizard cats in here, and a breeding group of Ancistrus. Go to the 150. Michael asked if I'm ever going to get into other oddball plecos. I am embarrassed to tell you guys how many types of plecos I have. We'll go to the 150 in a minute. We have to look at this dude. I cannot get over how fast these bettas healed up. I mean, if you guys remember, this one, while it was always obvious it was a crown tail, it had like none of the tail fin. And even the dorsal was really eroded. And if he comes to the side here and shows off, look how vivid his colors have gotten. Really looking good. And this one too. Might have too much light pollution. I mean, look how round their bellies are too. Look how perfect this one's fins were, even from the video a couple days ago. Right now, the betta boys are eating Sarah O-nip. Today's an O-nip day in the fish room. I only ship fish within the United States right now. Someone asked about Apistos. I do have a breeding group in here. This tank is one of the ones that needs a good scrubbing. It's gotten water changes, but the glass is dirty. It's got algae growing on it, so I need to get in here and really clean things up. The 150. Whoa, where are you going? I guess it wants to look at me. This gimbal is confusing me. Will Joey and I do a video together? Absolutely. It's just, you know, logistically, he's in Nova Scotia and I'm in Pennsylvania, and that's quite a hike. Plus, we both travel quite a lot, but at different times, so actually finding the time within our family schedules and everything else can be a bit challenging. Look at this dude. Now that's a sexy fish. Oh, and there's my favorite gastromyzon viriosus. Someone just asked how long it took to grow all these plants. This tank's been running for 2 years, a little over 2 years. Look at this dude all fired up. Holy crap. See how they get the blue in their fins? There must be a lady nearby. He looks phenomenal. He might even start excavating a cave soon. What epistogramma would I recommend for a beginner? I really think the cockatoides are the easiest, and the line bred species specifically. The super oranges, triple reds, double reds, etc. So the 150 got about an 80% water change this morning, which is why it looks especially happy. Would I come to Reefapalooza if you paid for the flight, etc.? It really depends. My schedule next, I book my travel almost 2 years out, so you know, a lot depends on when it is, which I don't even know when Reefapalooza is. I think it's June. I am going to the one in New Jersey. Oh no, I'm not. I'm going to Aquatic Experience in New Jersey. You want to see the big boys? They have not been fed yet today. Let me see if I can find their food. They probably appreciate it. I don't know what you guys are looking at right now because I'm looking the opposite direction. All right, we'll give them some krill and some giant pellets. The krill I just drop in at the water's surface, and the boys go after that immediately. And then I'll drop some pellets in the opposite end for the pollies. Hopefully, though, often the gars don't get the memo that the pellets are for the pollies. Thank you for the super chat, Josh. The big boys, this is a tropical gar. That is a Cuban gar. And then the 3 snake-like guys are Polypterus and Lacari. Light pollution down here is so bad. Lucas asked if I stick to a strict feeding schedule. Not really. I kind of think variety is the spice of life, so I try and mix it up. But I do have a certain standard of food that I'll feed, and that is not negotiable. Look, guys, you have pellets. You're swimming right past them. That's not the smartest. I've been feeding so much krill lately. The pollies forgot that they eat off the bottom. Now I think this one's going to figure it out. They slurp them up like spaghetti noodles. It's pretty cool. Let's see who figures it out first. Yes, they are a species of bichir. How many times do I feed my fish? Depends on what kind of fish they are. Thank you, Rasting, for the super chat. I'm disappointed that my pollies are being a bit dense. See, these guys have pretty poor eyesight. Those things on the end of their nose is what they use to find their food, and this food must not be stinky enough for them to really identify. But the gars have certainly figured out the krill. The Cuban all of a sudden is putting on some decent size. Genji asked if I recommend plop and drop for fish and shrimp or just fish. It's sort of the same rules apply. It depends on if it's going into similar water or harder water, then yes. If it's going into an extremely soft tank, then it needs a prolonged acclimation. See, the gar just found some. So everybody's happy. Hello, aquatics and furries. Actually, you know what looks pretty cute is, let's see. All the little pygmaeus. There's a betta in here too, although I don't see it at the moment. I know it's in here. It's probably behind that sponge or something. These guys, when they eat, are just so darn cute. Oh, there he is. Oh, wrong way. There's that one. You can see too, I just can't get over how good they look. Let's see if I can find this guy's got really cool coloring. Now this tank doesn't have a light, so it makes it kind of hard to see, but you can sort of see it's like this really rich teal color with bright orange. Black neons or glow light tetras to go with your male betta. I would probably go for the glow light. Well, you know what I haven't had a whole lot of experience with black neons, but I'd probably go with the glow light just because they're slightly smaller and a little more docile. Here's those Barbuca diabolica, the fire eye loaches. They're really cool. Can Corridor catfish and cichlids live together? It depends on what kind of cichlid. Thank you, Jeremy, for the super chat. What else do we want to see? Oh, we can check out this last beta dude. Will I be selling chili raspberries again? Yes, of course. Okay, Josh, I see that. You can email me if you like. Here's the last guy. This is the one whose fins were in the best condition. You can see how round its belly's gotten, so it's back in shape. Now, a lot of you have expressed a ton of interest in these bettas, and I wanted to tell you they will be being adopted out. However, I think I'm going to try and adopt them out locally first, just because I don't want to risk their fins getting destroyed again from shipping. There's Captain and Whiskey. They're hungry too. Do Kubatai rasboras really stay under an inch? Yeah, around there. Would aqua soil count as gravel for gobies? Depends on the type of goby as to how important the substrate is. How local is local? Able to pick them up. That's a 4-line, yes. It's about, I think he's about 8 years old or 10 years old. I can't remember. I took him over from a local hobbyist whose tank got broken during a move. And there, I need to feed these guys too. Oh look, I found some crap I didn't throw away yesterday. Guess I didn't do a perfect job. Oh, Captain! He just tried to bite me. This fish, I should have had it scrolled down for you guys. He is such a bruiser. Tough tetra, diamond tetras. They're gorgeous. They're also, diamond tetras are also a Cares species. Let me get Whiskey some food too. Those of you that keep asking about treatment for disease, that's not something I enjoy talking about, especially when I can't see the fish, so I'm not going to give you recommendations. Captain, that's not your food. There they go. Now they'll be happy. And you guys can see them working barefoot. So I'll be excited soon to have lights on this aquarium as well, so we can actually really see Captain Cranky Pants better. Yeah, I still have German blue rams. Oh, here's the last betta dude. This one's really shy and docile. I was having a hard time getting footage of him the other day. Can you keep crebensis with bamboo shrimp? Yes. My only complaint about going live on my phone like this is that I can't focus the camera and it makes me insane. This tank also has the Stiphodon atropurpureus, and you can see there's a really nice male right back there. But these guys are doing well. There's a couple. Oh, there. If I had ladies in here, oh, what'd you ask me, Ted? What are good resources to figure out habitats? Orange laser quarries in my current case. Planet Catfish often has, if you go to their species profiles, they have a map that has where the fish are found, and that can be a good way for you to at least start a search for different underwater photos or collection data. Oh, I have new fry in all my bristlenose tanks. Ever had bumblebee catfish? Yes. Do I still have Pseudomugil luminatus? Yes. There's new fry in here. And then if you guys remember last week, I said that that big male bristlenose was on eggs. And he's looking to set up shop again. But his fry came out again yesterday. Let's see if I can find one to show you. Of course, now I can't see any. I saw a whole bunch earlier. They're teeny tiny, smaller than a Malaysian trumpet snail. Oh, there's one. Right there. How big do I sell my Maltese at? I like them to be at least 3/4 of an inch. Let me sit back down here so I can actually, when I use my phone, I can't see your guys' chat very well. Hopefully I don't drop this entire thing. All right. Let me open up the chat again so I can see what you guys are saying. Are there any downsides to doing more water changes? No, I don't think so. In my opinion, you can't do too many water changes. If you think about it, the bacteria lives on every surface in the aquarium, so the only thing you're doing by more water changes is providing cleaner water. Any plans to Washington soon? I was there recently, so probably not. I mean, Portland did ask me back, but I don't think I have room in my schedule for next year. The problem is, as I mentioned earlier, I book out usually a year to 18 months in advance. So fitting in more travel in the same year or soon is really difficult. I haven't been asked back to Pittsburgh. I spoke there probably 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, and maybe I offended. Who knows? That was like one of my first speaking engagements when I joined the lecture circuit. So I'm sure I've improved quite a bit. A blind bristlenose who only seems to eat on the glass. How do you ensure he's getting adequate food? If the body condition looks good, I wouldn't be too concerned. I mean, most of those grazers and things don't really graze by sight. They climb across things. So, if you're really concerned, you could put it in its own aquarium. But I think that might be overkill. Thanks, Nuclear Green. Oh, what happened to the shrimp that were outside in the bins? I moved them inside and then I sold them. I still have some around. I've really been moving away from working really heavily with the shrimp. I go through phases in my interests and what I want to work with. A couple years ago, I was in a huge Coreodoros phase. Before that, it was Apistogrammas and dwarf cichlids. Right now, I seem to be in a pleco phase. Shrimp have always been something I'll continue to work with, but I really go through phases in what I put a lot of effort into. Will I have a booth or be walking around the aquatic experience? I probably won't have a booth, but I do plan on being there. I didn't like missing it this past year. Do I think Habrosus quarries could be done in summer tubs? There's no reason they couldn't be. Here's the reason I don't generally move catfish outside. It has nothing to do with how well they'll do and everything to do with catfish take a while to mature. And my goals for the tubs are to get the highest yield possible in a short amount of time, and that's not catfish. Matt asked, I have a 100-gallon tank hanging from my ceiling. It's bare bottom so we can see from the bottom. I'm wondering if the setup might stress them. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of decor you have in the aquarium. I don't know why seeing them from the bottom would be any different from being able to view them from the top or the sides. You'd still want to be able to, you know, give them appropriate cover and decor to exhibit natural behavior. I'm happy A 2018's in New Jersey too, because that's an easy trip for me. It's only 3 hours. Are there any decent sized shrimp that will breed happily that can defend themselves against fish? Not really. Hi Edwin from Bahrain. I like pest snails. Pie Mama 92. I think that they are an excellent gauge of your maintenance. Let me just show you guys real quick what I mean. If I can get my camera to work. So pest snails can only reproduce with a food source. Every single aquarium in this fish room, except for the big boys, has some sort of pest snails. And if you look around, they are not readily visible except for in 2 aquariums. This one they're going bonkers in. Like, look up at the surface. There is a million MTS in here, and that's not because I'm not doing maintenance. That's because I feed really heavily. I'm overfeeding this aquarium deliberately in order to rear the baby plecos. Same thing down here. There's a million snails in this one too, again because I'm deliberately overfeeding. But as we look around the rest of the fish room, you don't really see much of a snail presence. And that's because those tanks are not overfed because they're not fry tanks. So in my opinion, I think pest snails are really useful because they're a barometer of our tank health. If you are feeding too much or not maintaining your aquarium properly, then you will get a lot of snails. Can you use something cheap like a plastic bin as a quarantine tank? Yes, I have a whole video about that actually. I use the Sterilite containers. They're only a couple bucks. I drill holes in the lid to run airline through, and they're fantastic because I don't get tempted to leave them running. Someone asked me to keep Serapé tetras. I honestly have never kept them, believe it or not. I don't know why. They're nice fish. Let's see. Someone asked how you tell the gender of apple snails. The boys have a penis. You know, it sounds obvious, but you flip them onto their back, and the penis is on the opposite side as the breathing siphon. Generally, the breathing siphon has the same color as the snail's body, and the penis is white. They are not very happy about showing you, so it's often easiest just to watch for the ones that are mating with the other ones. Congratulations on the new aquarium. Killing Music. I think I butchered that. Yeah, Eric Bodrock is a very specialized breeder, though. I'm not sure that you are asking about breeding fish or keeping fish. What would I put in a 100-gallon bow front with slightly hard pH? Maybe rainbows. What is the best fish food brand to feed tetras in your opinion? I like Sarah. I like Rapashi. I like to look at ingredients. As far as brands go, you know, just read the ingredients. I really prefer to feed fish things that they would actually eat. So I tend to stay away from foods that are super, super high in terrestrial grains or fillers. I also find that it makes my tanks cloudy when I feed cheaper foods. Well, they're not always cheaper, but ones that have those ingredients. Erica, please stop asking me how to treat ick. I already said I'm not going to go over that. Have you ever kept CPD outside? Yeah, for about 8 years. Keith asked if I'm going to make it back to the OCA for the extravaganza. I had planned to go this year, but life had other plans, so maybe. You know, maybe. I'm not a huge fan of the Ohio, Indiana area. My mother was from there, and It's just not my favorite place to visit because I've been there so many times. I try and choose places to go that I haven't been before or where I'll encounter the most of you, and OCA would definitely be that. How many, oh, I just saw a good question. Hey, Ray, Unholy Orders asked me, oh crap, how many nearite snails for a 20-gallon long planted? My general rule of thumb with stocking algae-eating snails like nearite snails is 1 per 5 gallon of tank space. Simply because if you stock them denser than that, a lot of times they can starve, especially if the tank isn't well mature. And by well mature, I mean like a year old or more. In my aquariums, I can keep lots and lots and lots of them because, number one, I supplement properly. They can be challenging to get to eat other foods, but they will take Repashy. And number two, my tanks are all 10 years old. So in a newer setup, 1 per 5 gallon. If you want to push it, 1 per 2.5 gallon, but 1 per 5 gallon, you're generally pretty safe. How many dwarf puffers do I keep at any one time? I usually keep between 12 and 24 on hand when I have them. Does the cortisone seem to be helping my daughter? You know, they said it would take 3 to 5 days to really make an impact, and today is day 3, I think. What's today? She went Monday. Today's Friday. Today's day 5, so we'll find out. She has another diving meet tomorrow morning at Bucknell that we're going to, so I'm hoping. Do I keep any wild Betta species? Yes. What could cause a single shrimp to die every other day? It's a planted tank and nitrates are around 60. Ammonia is 0.25. There's your answer there. There shouldn't be any detectable ammonia, and you want to try and keep the nitrates at least half that, if not more. If you're dosing fertilizer, you need to cut back or increase your water changes. My chat screen just disappeared. Oh, there it is. Oh, I would no, my daughter's never had painkillers, and they actually haven't brought it up. They've suggested physical therapy, which we will do. They've suggested chiropractic as a last-ditch effort, and they suggested these injections. So we'll go that route first before we see what other things they suggest. Hi, UK Ken. How often should you dose fertilizer in a planted tank? It depends on the plants. Depends on your source water. That's another one of those questions that I don't feel like there is a set scripted answer that works for every hobbyist. There's a lot of trial and error in planted aquariums. And you have to have an understanding of your water and the plant's needs in order to figure out what you need to dose. A lot of those all-in-one fertilizers are absolute garbage. And can cause more problems than they're worth. Someone asked me if I'm going to England at some point. I wish. I need to be invited. I've never been to Europe at all. I would love to go, and there's some really incredible conventions there too. Hello from Japan. That's awesome. It's another place I'd like to visit. Do I sell dwarf gourami or avoid them in fear of carrying the iridovirus? You can get them supposedly with certs that they're iridovirus negative. In general, I don't keep farmed gouramis. I do carry some of the little pygmy gouramis, but you know, dwarf gouramis in general, you can get at any pet store, so for me, they're not that exciting to keep, and they're slow sellers because they're so available. Carson asked if you can use play sand in a tank. Of course. I prefer pool filter sand. It's less dirty, and I think it looks prettier. But play sand's fine too. Just rinse the crap out of it. Hello from Colorado. When will I be working on my Betta sorority? I think I'm up to... As soon as I do my next order, most likely. I have to make sure I have enough tanks to do an order. I wanted to do it this week, but then we've had 2 snowstorms this week, so I figured it wasn't a great week to get in fish. So, you know, but I do plan on doing that. I thought it'd be an interesting thing to experience with you guys. Oh, Vermont. I love Vermont. My best friend in all the world and her family are from Burlington, and I try and visit there at least once a year, if not more, to see them. There's a good club in Burlington as well. Thank you, Steve, for the super chat. Why do you think so many cool fish and color morphs are slow to come to the U.S.? Because a lot of times Americans are cheap. I mean, that's what it boils down to. It doesn't, in order to get a lot of the newer stuff, the freight from Europe is extremely expensive, which drives up the actual cost of the fish then being for sale. So if people aren't willing to pay for it, it doesn't make sense to get it in. Freight from the farms in Asia or even down in Florida is way, way cheaper than getting things from Europe, at least, you know, here on the East Coast. I can pay as much for freight for one box of fish from Europe as I do for 5 or 6 boxes of fish from Asia. What size tank and how many fish was I planning for my sorority? I was going to do a 55-gallon with 8 females, as well as other fish. I was going to make a community setup. I also have a 75-gallon available, so we'll see. Well, someone said something about Stentker discus. I live local to Discus Hans, who gets Stentker discus, and they're phenomenal. I've worked with Stentkers before. They're absolutely gorgeous. And Hans gets stuff in all the time and is a really wonderful man. Did you guys know that the very first person to ever do that kids decorating contest in the United States was Discus Hans, and he sponsored it fully in order to engage kids in the hobby? He's a really great man and great fish. Are there any fish or inverts that will eat pond snails and not cherry shrimp? Assassin snails. I mean, you know, people say I read frequently that people have seen assassin snails eating their shrimp, but they don't eat healthy shrimp. It's possible if there's no pest snails or other foods, they will go after a shrimp when it's molting. They're opportunistic, but for the most part, I consider them to be shrimp safe. Oh, I just saw something about Winnipeg, I think. Few locals here in Winnipeg have been working with Stentkers. I'm coming to Winnipeg next year. King of DIY! Hi, Joey. I didn't even know you were in here. People were asking me if I'm ever going to do a video with you, and I said, yeah, you're probably one of the few people I would actually do a video with. Welcome, Joey. Were you out shoveling? It's snowing here now. They actually, I was supposed to go pick my kids up from school in a couple hours, and school just got dismissed because apparently it's snowing heavily here. I had no idea. I haven't been out of the basement all morning. I got a call that they're doing early dismissal. Joey is going to New York City in January, and I'm going to go see him. That's I believe, at Brooklyn Aquarium Society. That's a good club, too. I haven't been there in a long time. Someone asked, can you keep bee shrimp and tetras? Their needs are entirely opposite. I wouldn't. We're going to get loaded afterwards. Tanya's coming, right, Joey? We can go out on the town. We'll have fun. What's my minimum tank size for fry grow out? About 5 gallons. How often do I water change on fry tanks? Every day. I water change fry tanks every day. Actually, I don't have anything set up right now, but one of the things I like to use for fry are those plastic containers, and then I poured like a 1-inch board underneath the back of all the containers, so they're slightly tilted, and then all the detritus comes to the front, and you can just suck out the detritus along the front of those bins for your water change and not have to worry about avoiding fry. pro tip for you. Rachel, suggestions to get female apistos to stop killing males after breeding. You know, I have had some bone thug murderous female apistos as well, and I have tried harems, I have tried target or ditherfish, I've tried changing their decor. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. You know, sometimes the female just needs to be separated. I don't remember how old the video was, but did you ever do anything with the mystery fish giant Danios you got? Yeah, I sold them. A local guy bought them and actually took them to a fish show last year where they did, or this year where they did really well. What percentage of water do I change out of the fry tanks? It depends on the fry, but generally, you know, around 10% each day. Have I ever bred chili rasboras? Yes, but outside. How big of a plastic quarantine container should I get for my Betta? Let me see if I can find the ones that I use. I cleaned yesterday, so whether or not I'll be able to find anything is... I use... Oops, hold on. Whoops. I use... That's me. I use this size. I don't know how many gallons it is. I think it's about maybe 3 gallon. They're like $5 or $6 with a lid. I have about 30 of them that I keep on hand to set up. I also take them to shows to keep fish in my hotel room. Wonder if let's see if the Polly's ever figured out the food. Well, most of it's gone, so I assume so. Just took them a little bit. But yeah. There we go. I was having some user error with the camera there a few minutes ago. Sorry about that. This gimbal is fantastic, but it's like operating, I don't know if any of you have ever operated heavy machinery, but when you use the controllers in like a skid steer or a front end loader, to go up you push down, to go down you push up, and this gimbal's the same way, and I keep pushing the button the wrong way. Hickory carnivore, a good food for smaller bikers. Yeah, you know what, I grew out mine with massivore once they were big enough to eat massivore. I also supplemented them with red wiggler worms as well as small crickets and frozen shrimp that I would chop up and some whitefish. Oh, do you guys want to see my office? It's not too bad. How did your Christmas tree turn out? It's in the house, but it's not decorated yet. I have to go buy more lights. Look, you can see the floor and the counter. It's still a hot mess. I mean, I have so much stuff in there. But at least it's a usable space now. Did you guys ever see this poster? One of you guys made that for me. I love it. Yeah, it's a big improvement. What I really need to do is go through all my publications. I would like to have them all, like those are the last 2 years of magazines. I would love to be able to get them all organized and put them in folders so that I can access them. But getting there is just hard to commit to. This thing's kind of cool. This is a casting of a long arm shrimp. I bought that probably 10 years ago at a fish event down in DC. There was a local guy who was casting all these crazy things, including some fish skeletons. It was pretty neat. But I have all kinds of artwork and stuff that have come from people. These are kind of funny too. I once spoken at an event where they made up money to do like a raffle thing, and I was the $100 bill. Only God can grade me. That was done by Antoinette Carey. She lives up in Connecticut. She also is the one that drew my crayfish tattoo. So I collect artwork from all over the place. I have some really cool 1800s hand-painted plates from old books. I love, love, love artwork. April Woods sent me a portrait of me that she did. It's upstairs, or I'd show it to you guys right now. And it was absolutely awesome. I had it on my Instagram. What beer is what? Hold on, I'll go grab it. It was one that, this was Kelp Stout from Tofino. Julian Dignall, the owner of PlanetCatfish.com, gave this to me at the last catfish convention. And I kept the bottle just because, you know, it was aquatic themed, and I really don't know why I kept it. It's kind of weird. But there it is. Someone just asked if I still work with pygmy sunfish. No, only in the summers. Hi from Ireland. Is a timer-controlled light and dark cycle important for fish health and happiness? I think so. And not only that, but I think a really carefully maintained light schedule is good for your plants, and it makes fish way less prone to startling. Down here I have lights on a timer so that the room lights come on first, and then the aquarium lights about an hour later, and the same thing when they go out. The tank lights go out and then the room lights go out. And I don't use lids on any of my aquariums, and I rarely have problems with fish jumping. I think that an inconsistent light schedule really does make fish way jumpier. How's the greenhouse coming along? It's cold. It's fine. I'm probably not even going to bother going out there till about February to check the plants. What L numbers do I have for sale? My stock list is on my website, guys, at MsJinx.com. There's a current stock list tab. Hi, Kroger Marcus from Germany. Are there any fish that absolutely won't eat baby shrimp? No. Have I ever done a blackout treatment against algae? Yeah. You can't peek, though. That's the hard part. You really have to black it out and just leave it alone. I'm not very good at that. I'm too nosy. Hi, Deb. I'm glad you love the Sunda Daniel. I found 2 more, a male and a female. I do hope to be getting more of those in. They're inconsistent shippers at best. Just Marcus is better? All right, I'll keep that in mind. Jim asked if the Bettas are almost ready for a new home. Yes. I am going to try and rehome them locally, though. I really don't want to ship them. My biggest concern about shipping is that in transit they're going to chew their tails, and that would undo all the work I just put into them. My Tucano boys say hello. Hi, Lauren. Someone asked about removing copper from their water. Josh, I would pick up some poly filter. Hold on one second. I'll grab a package to show you guys. It looks like this. This is a chemical media that changes colors to tell you what it's filtering out. And in situations like yours where you're not sure why things are dying and you're suspicious of metals in your water, if you cut a piece of this and put it in your aquarium, if it is removing copper, it will change a dark blue. So that might be able to give you some hints as to what's going on with your water to make it inhospitable for shrimp. It changes all kinds of different colors for filtering out other things. We can see what. When it comes to polyfilter, how black is black? Is it dark brown or black? I mean, once it gets really, really dark brown, it's not doing anything anymore. Do you guys want me to read you everything? It says all the colors. It says polyfilter turns color when removing medications. Aqua to dark blue, copper or copper salts, orange for iron, bright red for aluminum, bright yellow for ammonia, solvents. Dyes the color of the solution when you add it. For instance, things like methylene blue, it'll change that color. Tannins are humic acid or dark brown. Organic wastes are light tan to dark brown. And it says it can help you extend time between water changes, but I don't rely on it for that. Do I use ceramic rings? Yes. Where to buy polyfilter? You can get it on Amazon. You can buy it. Any number of vendors sell it. Chili Rasboras and Sunda Daniel is doing fine in shrimp tanks. Good. Yeah, I mean, I think those are some of the best choices for shrimp tanks, but they're certainly not going to never ever eat a baby shrimp. You know, whether you want to keep fish with your shrimp or not really depends on what your goals are for your shrimp. If your goal is to breed as many shrimp as possible, then you don't want to keep fish with them. Hi, Lucas. Thank you. I'm really happy when it's this clean down here. However, I really hate doing it. So I still yet want to go around and scrub down all the metal racks and take a razor blade to the glass and really get things back to peak condition. And I'll probably have time to work on that. Angelfish ate your ghost shrimp? That is not at all shocking. Angelfish go on a seek and destroy mission. Have fun at your meeting, Evan. This is not polyfill, Karen. This is polyfilter. It's made by Polymarine Bio. And an interesting tidbit about this stuff as well is that they actually use it as the pre-filter for kidney dialysis. It's also used in a lot of applications for water treatment on an industrial scale. And the guys that run this company, it's actually a father and a son, and they're really fantastic people. I'm supposed to make it out there one of these days for a tour. It's just finding the time. They're located, I believe, in Reading, Pennsylvania. Yes. And pretty fascinating. No, not polyfiller either. Filter with a T. It's 2 words. Polyfilter. How would I explain the aggression of your Panoculus LDA 31 towards his partner? Maybe he's in the mood. Make sure with even Panoculus that you have at least one extra cave than you have fish. I think it really helps. Staragine repens is struggling. Probably needs some fertilizers. I struggle with Staragine too. And Kelly, I agree with you about the tannins. But, you know, I have polyfilter on and off in all my aquariums, and I just put a postage stamp size in there. I use it more as a signifier than anything else. I'm not using it specifically for chemical media as much as I am just to keep an eye on my aquariums, so it doesn't remove all the tannins. Hi, Evelyn. Any suggestions on how to minimize bubble splashing from sponge filters? Put a diffuser. You can just put an air stone, like here. Oh, I cleaned. I don't know where all my extra equipment is. So when you take the sponge filter apart, you know, it's got the little piece that comes up on the lid that you hook the air line to, and on the bottom there's also another one of those pieces. You can put a little air stone on that, and it will diffuse the bubbles and make them smaller, which is better for oxygen exchange. It's quieter and it makes less big bubbles. Daniel asked, you have 550 TDS. I mean, a lot of rainbows, African cichlids, live bearers. You know, there's all kinds of things that you could keep. Keep in mind too that you could potentially collect rainwater or get RO to make your water a little less, or a little more dilute, rather. Tips in general to get Coreodorus to spawn: feed them things like blackworms or bloodworms or really, really delicious worms pretty heavily, then do a large volume cooler water change. That'll generally get them in the mood. But keep in mind, I've said this a million times, catfish are slow to mature. If you can't tell if you have two genders, your fish are not mature, for the most part. With Coreodorus in particular, females are a noticeably different shape than the boys. Do I use frog bit in my tanks? No. In fact, I'm in a constant war against all floaters. Do I keep insect colonies to keep worms for the fish? No. Generally, I work with most of my live cultures in the summer times when I'm home. How to enhance colors in X-ray tetras? Feed foods with lots of carotenoids. That would be things that have shrimp or shellfish in them. Carotenoids are a natural color enhancer. You can also look for foods that say they're color enhancing. Generally, that means they have astaxanthin, which is an algae that is known to increase specifically, I believe, the blue and green colors in fish. For instance, if you feed yellow shrimp foods with astaxanthin, they will turn green. It's reversible, but it does work. Your Soggy asked me if I've ever made my water harder for certain species. I do it for the shellies. I use a cichlid substrate that contains crushed coral in that aquarium in order to make things buffered. Now, if you're playing with chemistry like that, you need to make sure that you do smaller, more frequent water changes so that the shift in parameter is not huge, because that can be very dangerous for your fish. Shrimp in summer tubs next year. I think I'm going to work with shrimp in the greenhouse next year. I think that they are a perfect choice. Keeping them in the greenhouse should help me prevent some of the pests that are an issue with them in the outdoor tubs, and they can take the warmer waters, at least the neocaridiners are, so hopefully I'll do that next year. My thought on using carbon. I use mainly sponge filtration, so I don't use carbon. I mean, it's fine, but you've got to remember that if you want it to work as carbon's intended to work through absorption, you're going to have to change it out pretty frequently. And, you know, a lot of times those pre-made things of carbon is an insufficient amount to really do any noticeable good. So making your own in filter bags is better. You can buy bulk carbon for a more affordable price that is not necessarily geared towards aquarium use. Do I keep crayfish? They're illegal in my state. I used to until they became illegal. Now I can't keep them anymore. I'm excited for the greenhouse next year too. You know, that was one heck of a gift. My husband really shocked the crap out of me with that one. It's going to be a fun project. I have lots of things I want to do. Am I in Pennsylvania? Yes. I'm in York County, northeastern York County. I keep my tanks at 78 or so. What temperature water change should I do to trigger them, and would 50% be enough? I would drop it down to like 74, 75 and see what that does, and 50% should be fine. Blue neon gobies in a tank with aquascaping soil. I assume you mean the Stiphodon atropurpureus. I mean, you don't have to worry about them spawning, so that should be fine. Just make sure that you mature the soil first, because they will release ammonia, and that's very dangerous for those gobies. I don't use RO water at all, to those who asked. Looks like we have about 5 minutes, guys, so if you have any particular questions, get them out now. My Sarracenias are doing fine. All my carnivorous plants are doing fine. They're estivating, or hibernating, or dormant, sorry. Dormant right now. They need at least 40 days of 40 degrees or less as part of their life cycle. So they're in the middle of doing that, so they don't look like much. Oh boy, there goes the chat. What's best to get rid of hair algae? You might want to figure out why you're getting hair algae, but I find monos to be particularly effective depending on what else is in the aquarium. Thank you, PJF. My chat just turned off. I'm having all sorts of technical difficulties today. Would I please do a video about taller tanks? I don't keep any taller tanks, but I know Joey is planning one, and I'm sure he'll give you guys really great information on those. He was talking about building a 120-gallon tall tank. Tall tanks have some unique obstacles, so I would definitely recommend doing some research. Mercury retrograde, that's why everything's being kind of wonky down here. Best tight schooling fish, Brevibora dorsea salata, the emerald iris bora. I have some of them. Let's see. Go take a look. Ooh, my goodness. The guard just scared the crap out of me. These are Brevibora dorsea salata. They are extremely directional, tiny, little lamp eyes with a black dorsal. They stay very much in the top third. And they are the best small schooler that I know of. My high pancistrus are my biggest ones. I don't keep common plecos or anything like that. All right, we've been going just over an hour, so I think that's good for me. I do really enjoy this, and I want to thank you guys for making the time in your day to come out and hang out with me. I will do these every Friday this month, and then we'll evaluate after that. So again, thank you guys very much for all of your support, and look forward to another video tomorrow.